What's up, world? I don't know about you, but the prices of blackberries and this other fruit that's out here is really driving me crazy right now. So I decided I'm going to do something about it. Rather than sit here and complain to you about how the prices of blackberries have doubled over the past couple of years, I'm just going to go ahead and build a blackberry patch on the side of my house. First things first, we're going to plant these 4 different blackberry varieties. Now, I'm only planting thornless varieties because, well, I have kids and I don't want to hear them crying to me that they fell into the blackberry bushes. The best thing about thornless varieties is that they're easy to harvest and easy to train, and also they're extremely easy to prune. And if you haven't figured out my gardening style, I'm all about simplicity and ease. I think gardening should be enjoyable, and we shouldn't have to do crazy amounts of work. Now look, I know that every successful garden takes work, so I'm not sitting here saying that I expect it to just be hands off. But that's one reason why I plant so many perennials in my garden. So I planted 3 different varieties. One of them is Arapaho, one is Washita, and then the other 2 on the end are the Natchez variety. Now, I left enough space to put one more plant in, but I haven't quite decided which thornless variety I'm going to go with. I may just wait for a year or so and then propagate whichever one I like the best. But who knows, sometimes I get impatient and I'm at the nursery and then I just happen to come home with plants. I know I can't be the only person that this happens to. Alright, so the trellis is relatively easy. All I'm doing here is measuring out equidistant points from that middle post that I already have the hose link on. Now I'm setting 4x4s in a little bit of concrete, not nearly as much concrete as you would use if you were setting fence post, but there is some concrete down there because I expect these bushes to put on quite a few pounds of blackberries throughout the summer. So after I set the first post, I pour the concrete, then I go back and I wet the concrete, and now I make sure that the post is level. You guys get to skip the whole part where I was having a hard time leveling off this post. All right, now we're on the post on the other side, and same process. Post goes in the hole. After you dig the hole, throw some concrete down, and then wet the concrete and make sure that it stays even and in line with the other post. So since this is quick drying cement, you know what that means. I'm back out here in a couple hours. I'm moving the dirt back around to cover up the cement, and now I'm tamping it down into place. Why? Because I want to make sure that these posts are secure. Now the next thing is we need to move this hose link. As much as I loved it right here in the middle, it just didn't work with the blackberries. They were going to grow and cover up the hose and then just make it hard to access the hose. So we're going to move it down to the end. Now, since it's up against the house, I guess I have to paint these posts, even though that's not something that I normally would do, but you know, I was told that I need to paint these this time. All right, so once the posts are painted and the paint dries, of course, now it is time to measure off these posts and cut them about the same height. Once you have your desired height, head over to the other post and do the same thing. Now it's time to set up the guide wires. I'm measuring about 24 inches off the ground and then another 12 inches from the top of the beam. That is the points where I will be attaching the wires to. First, I'll drill in a hole, the eye hooks in there, and then after that, I will attach a turnbuckle and the guide wire. Now for the guide wire, I'm pretty sure I use something like 16 gauge wire. Now the purpose of these wires is to keep your blackberries vertical, right? Because blackberries have a tendency to fall on the ground and kind of spread out and take over the entire garden. Another purpose of these wires is to make sure that we are able to prune the proper branches, or the canes as they're called, when it comes time to prune our blackberries. Anyway, you can check out the rest of the video to see how to set up your own blackberry trellis. There are many different ways to do it, but this is just the way that I chose to do it. Rather than complain about how much blackberries cost and how much fruit and all other kind of food cost, I'm just going to make sure that 2024 I grow as much fruit and food as possible in my small urban garden. Anyway, hose link is moved, and this is what it ended up looking like. And I guarantee you it's going to be filled with blackberries by the end of this summer. That's it. Now that you're inspired, go out, find a perennial fruit that you can plant in your garden and plant it this year. You may not get fruit year 1, you may not get fruit year 2, but once that fruit starts rolling in, it'll all be worth it.